Some places hold a silent dread, a weight of the past that clings to the very air. Today we venture into a story that blends the eerie with the tragic, a tale of a family whose lives were shattered within the walls of an old imposing manor. This is the story of the Sterling family and the haunting of Blackwood Manor, a mystery that continues to send shivers down the spines of those who dare speak its name. The Sterling family, consisting of Richard and Eleanor, and their two young children, 10-year-old Lily and 8-year-old Thomas, were always drawn to the allure of the old. They were antique collectors, fascinated with history and the stories held within the walls of time. That fascination eventually led them to Blackwood Manor, a grand Victorian-era estate perched atop a hill overlooking the small town of Oakhaven. The manor had been abandoned for years, its imposing structure casting a long shadow over the town. It was rumored to be cursed, a place where darkness resided, but to the Sterlings, it was a treasure waiting to be rediscovered. They had purchased the manor and were planning to restore it, not knowing that the ghosts of its past would soon engulf them. Initially, their time at Blackwood was filled with the excitement of renovation. They spent their days uncovering hidden details, marveling at the craftsmanship of a bygone era. But as weeks passed and strange occurrences began, whispers in the hallways, objects moving on their own, and unsettling cold spots made them uneasy. At first, they dismissed these happenings as drafts or tricks of the light, remnants of an old building. But the incidents grew more frequent and more intense and started to affect the whole family. Lily started complaining about hearing voices at night, and Thomas woke up from nightmares with vivid descriptions of a shadowy figure. Elanor, a practical woman, tried to reason away these events, but even she began to feel an inexplicable unease. Richard, who was initially the most dismissive, also became aware that something was deeply wrong. They started to suspect the rumors about the curse, but they did not want to leave the house because they had invested everything they had in it. They tried to find out who lived in the manor and what happened there before them, but there were no records of the families that had lived there. Then, the unexplained turned sinister. One evening, Lily went missing. It was just after dinner. She had been playing in the garden, but when her parents called her in for bed, they couldn't find her. A frantic search of the house and the surrounding grounds turned up nothing. It was as if she had vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. Thomas was shaken to the core. He said he saw her go behind the giant oak tree near the garden, but he didn't know where she went after that. The local police were called to investigate. They launched a thorough search of the property, but there were no signs of forced entry or of a struggle. It seemed impossible that a child could simply disappear from such a confined area. Days passed into weeks, and Lily was still missing. The once excited atmosphere of Blackwood Manor was now filled with dread and despair. The Sterling family was devastated, and the investigation had reached a dead end. The investigation slowly turned colder, and the local police decided to take a break from the search. But Elanor refused to give up hope. She immersed herself in the history of the manor, delving into dusty archives and local town records, hoping to find a clue, something that might explain her daughter's disappearance. She learned the manor was built on an old burial ground, a place of unrest and tragedy. She discovered mentions of strange occurrences and unexplained disappearances going back centuries. It was as if the manor was a living entity, feeding on the energy of those who inhabited it. Eleanor started to suspect that something within the walls had taken Lily, and it was going to try to take her son as well. She became determined to get to the bottom of it before something happened to Thomas. She started noticing dark figures on the corner of her eye, and was constantly hearing whispers in the hallways. Driven by desperation, Eleanor started to spend her nights searching the manor herself. One particularly dark night, she was walking in one of the hallways of the manor when she stumbled upon a hidden room, tucked away behind a bookshelf. The room was small, damp and chilling, and it had an altar in the middle of it with strange symbols etched into the floor. In the center of the altar, she found a single old doll. It looked strangely similar to Lily, and Eleanor felt a sense of dread overcome her. She had the feeling that she had been in the room before. Just as she was about to take the doll, she noticed movement on the corner of her eye, and from the doorway emerged a tall, shadowy figure. It reached out to her with its long, bony fingers. Eleanor screamed and ran away, but she could feel the figure chasing her. She fell on the stairs in her attempt to get away. The figure did not come after her, but she was badly injured. She managed to crawl to her room and call for help. When the police arrived, they found Elanor severely injured and barely conscious. She recounted her terrifying ordeal, but her story was met with disbelief. They attributed her tale to her grief and her injuries. Despite their skepticism, they launched a new search of the manor. It was during this new search that they discovered a secret passage behind the hidden room. The passage led to the basement and to a dark, small cell. Inside that cell, they found Lily. She was alive, but very weak, and she was not speaking. She had been traumatized by the ordeal. They also found a second doll, identical to the one in the hidden room, on a chair in front of Lily's cell. When Lily got out of the cell, she started yelling at everyone, trying to make them go away. She said she could see the tall, shadowy figure everywhere. The police tried to find out what happened to her, but she could not explain how she got in the cell. She claimed she was playing in the garden and she got lost. She did not mention the doll at all. The case of Blackwood Manor remains unsolved, an unsettling reminder that some stories can only be whispered, and some places should remain undisturbed. The chilling events and the strange findings within those walls continue to haunt the town of Oakhaven, a grim testament to the enduring power of the unknown. Thank you for joining us as we delve into this chilling mystery. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to help us explore the darker corners of the world. We will continue to bring you stories that push the boundaries between the real and the supernatural.